Under the deep blue seas, there was an underwater kingdom that no one knew about. In this kingdom lived a very beautiful mermaid. She sang songs and her voice enchanted all the fish. The little mermaid was very curious about the world above the sea. Sometimes she would come to the water's surface and secretly watch fishermen's boats and happy people playing on the beach. One day, she saw a big ship on the water. The ship's captain was a handsome prince. As soon as the little mermaid saw the prince, she liked him very much. But suddenly, a storm broke out. The ship was tossed and broken apart. The prince fell into the sea and was in danger of drowning. The little mermaid quickly swam and saved the prince. She brought him to the shore and sang her beautiful songs until he woke up. The prince finally opened his eyes. The mermaid panicked and returned to the sea. The prince watched her from behind. Every day, he went to the beach hoping she would return. Seeing that the prince had been waiting for her for days, the little mermaid went to a sea witch. She said to her, "I want to become human." The witch said, "If you give me your voice, I can magically give you a pair of legs." The mermaid agreed. She drank a drop of the potion the witch gave her. Her fishtail turned into a pair of human legs. But she couldn't open her mouth to say a single word. Finally, she mustered the courage to go to the beach and met the prince. The prince thought she was the one who saved him, but he said he couldn't believe it without hearing her voice. "The person who saved me was singing beautiful songs, but you're not even talking to me." The mermaid was very sad about this. The underwater king, who heard about what happened to his daughter, used the power of the oceans to break the witch's spell. Thus, the mermaid's voice returned.
And with her magical voice, she sang a song to the prince.
The prince was finally convinced that the little mermaid was the one who saved him. "I remember this voice. Yes, it was you. You saved my life."
Thus, the mermaid understood that courage is the greatest magic.
She showed everyone that love and courage can overcome any obstacle. And she lived happily ever after with the prince. Once upon a time, in a land covered in snow, lived the Snow Queen. Although the Snow Queen felt very lonely in her palace, she never told anyone. The Queen's ice palace stood atop a silent mountain. One day, the Queen saw two siblings living in a small village, Kai and Gerda. She was very fond of how cheerful and lively they looked. She thought, "If someone comes to the palace with me, my loneliness will end." One night, while Kai and Gerda were listening to a fairy tale their grandmother was telling, a very strong wind blew. The window of the house opened and extinguished the fire in the fireplace. The siblings were very scared. The wind was so strong that Kai couldn't hold on any longer and flew out the window. Right in front of him, he saw the Snow Queen. The Queen took his hand, rode a sleigh pulled by white wolves, and ascended into the sky. Gerda watched her brother from behind. After that night, Kai began to live in the Snow Queen's ice palace. Kai's cheerfulness made the Queen feel a little better. But she didn't realize that Kai was struggling with the cold and even missed his sister. After a while, Kai's heart also turned to ice. He no longer laughed as much and didn't spread joy around. Meanwhile, Gerda had been trying for months to go to the Snow Queen's palace to save her brother. She didn't mind the heavy snowfall and tirelessly crossed the snow-covered forest. A white deer saw Gerda's brave and stubborn determination and said, "I can take you to the Snow Queen's palace." Gerda held tightly onto the deer's antlers. The deer flew in the sky and took her to the Snow Queen's palace. There, she found Kai about to freeze from the cold. She hugged him tightly and warmed him with her love. Kai returned to his old self, smiled again, and thanked Gerda. When the Queen saw this moment, she realized how much harm she had caused the two siblings. From that day on, Gerda and Kai occasionally invited the Queen to their home and befriended her. The Queen no longer felt lonely, because she now knew that love was a power that could melt ice and warm even the loneliest hearts. By the sea, in a tiny little hut, lived a fisherman and his wife. The fisherman was happy with his life, but his wife was never happy. One day, the fisherman caught a fish that shone like gold in the sea. While he looked at the fish in astonishment, the fish suddenly spoke and said, "I am an enchanted prince. If you set me free, I will grant one of your wishes," he said. But the fisherman had no wishes, so he put the fish back in the water. When he returned home, he told his wife what had happened. His wife said, "How can you miss this chance? Go and wish for a new house." The fisherman immediately went to the sea and told the fish his wife's wish. The fish said, "Go home. Your wife now has the house she wanted." The fisherman truly saw that his tiny hut had turned into a big, beautiful house. But his wife said, "This house is small. I want a palace. Go and ask the fish for a palace." The fisherman went back to the sea and conveyed the wish to the fish. The fish said, "Go home. Your wife now lives in a palace." His wife started living in the palace, but that did not make her happy. She said, "I want to be an empress. Go and ask the fish for that." The fisherman went back again to the golden fish and conveyed his wife's wish. The fish said, "Your wife is now an empress." But his wife was not satisfied with that either. She said, "I want to live above the clouds. Go and ask for that for me." Reluctantly, the fisherman went to the fish and stated the wish. The fish said, "The wish is granted. Your wife now lives above the clouds." The fisherman could neither see nor hear his wife anymore. In the end, unable to stand it, he went to the fish. He said, "I have always conveyed my wife's wishes to you. Now for once, grant my wish and bring my wife back to me." The fish said, "Go home, your wife is waiting for you." The fisherman returned home and found his wife in front of the old hut. When she saw the fisherman, his wife gave him a big hug and said, "I didn't appreciate what I had. I am very happy with you and in this cute little hut." Thus, the fisherman's wife learned that even tiny things can bring happiness, and that greed never brings happiness. Once upon a time, there was a mother and father who loved each other dearly. One day, the mother said, "I really crave crispy lettuce." The father, to make his wife happy, gathered lettuce from a field. It turns out the owner of the field was an evil and jealous witch. She captured the father and said, "If your baby's hair is long and golden, you will give her to me." The parents were very sad, their hearts broken, but they had no other choice, because their newborn's hair was both long and golden. Her mother named her Rapunzel, and she never saw her again. The witch locked Rapunzel in a tall tower. The tower had no stairs. It only had a single window. Whenever the witch wanted to visit, she would shout, "Rapunzel, let down your golden hair." Rapunzel let it down, and the witch climbed up holding onto her hair. Rapunzel lived alone in that tower for years. One day, a handsome prince heard Rapunzel's voice. Imitating the witch, he shouted, "Rapunzel, let down your golden hair." Rapunzel let her hair fall from the window. But when she saw that the person was someone else, she got very scared. The prince said, "Don't be afraid, I'm your friend." And over time, they became friends. The prince made a plan to help her escape the tower, and each time he came, he brought a piece of cloth. Rapunzel was going to make a rope from those pieces to escape the tower. One day, the witch climbed up Rapunzel's hair again to reach her. Rapunzel accidentally said, "The prince climbs faster than you." The witch got angry and shouted, "Prince, did you let a stranger into the tower?" She took scissors and cut Rapunzel's beautiful hair, sending her to the desert. Rapunzel was no longer a prisoner in the tower. She was free. Yes, but still lonely. Eventually, she saw the prince who was searching for her. The prince took her to his kingdom. Rapunzel found her real family there. Her family was proud of her because she had become a strong and brave young girl. Because she had overcome all the challenges she faced. Thus, she gained her freedom and reunited with her loved ones. Under a bright blue sea, there lived a happy family of red fish. In this sea, there were cute fish and also a gang of dangerous sharks. The sharks hunted for prey every day, and all the fish were afraid of them. One day, the mother red fish had to go deep into the sea to find food for her little ones. Before leaving home, she said, "My little ones, stay home until I return and do not speak to strangers." The 3 red fish promised their mother, but they were very curious fish. Meanwhile, the gang of sharks, seeing that the mother fish had left, made a plan to catch the little red fish. The big shark thought of pretending to be a red fish. First, he swam among the corals and painted himself red. Then he hid his dorsal fin with seaweed. And he also took some fresh seaweed cookies, the red fish's favorite. He knocked on the door and called out, "Would you like some cookies?" The fish got very excited, but one of them was suspicious. He said, "Our mom told us not to talk to strangers." The other 2 siblings said that the person coming was a red fish, just like their mother, and they opened the door. Thus the shark deceived them and chased after them. But at that moment, a hook hanging from above brushed off the seaweed, hiding his fin. When the little ones saw his sharp dorsal fin, they realized he was a shark and ran away quickly. One hid among the rocks, one among the corals, and another under a seashell. However, the shark managed to catch and take away 2 of the little ones. The surviving little one immediately went to tell his mother what had happened. The mother red fish, together with her little one, asked for help from the giant whale, Willie. Willie chased after the gang of sharks. Just as the sharks were about to eat the little ones, Willie caught them all in one go. Willie asked, "Will you ever harm the little fish again?" The sharks replied fearfully, "No, we won't. We promise." In this way, the mother fish and her little ones returned home safely. From that day on, the redfish family learned that getting through dangerous times was only possible with cooperation and solidarity.